Extra Thicc!
What's poppin' YouTube? Extra Thicc Games back at it again tonight, bringing you another video. Now, if any of you, my viewers, like top 5 videos as much as I do, well then you are going to have quite the treat tonight. We all know that the new TCG set for Yu-Gi-Oh! Soul Fusion is coming out within the next week, and I just wanted to talk to y'all tonight about the top 5 archetypes that got really good support in this upcoming set. So without further ado, let's get right into the top 5 supported archetypes from Soul Fusion. Now, kicking off this list with number 5, I bring DDDs, or Triple D if you're a dub watcher like me. Now, this one is so low on the list only because the 2 cards that were released as support for it, being Triple D High Flame King Genghis and Triple D Super Doom King Purple Armageddon, well, it seems like Konami was really dragging their feet with giving us these cards, and then on top of it, they were released in common rarity, which, I mean, I guess that's good for DDD players in the sense that they can access these cards relatively easily, but on the other hand, it almost seems like Konami is trying to completely cut out not only this archetype, but the pendulum mechanic altogether. We got Electromite put to 1, we've got Triff Gaming, the person who basically put pendulums back on the map after the banning of Astrograph Sorcerer. He's banned from tournaments for the next year, and now a card that DDD players really needed to make their deck work all that much better in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! With High Flame King Genghis is released as a common card. It almost seems like Konami just is trying to make us forget all about pendulum summoning and push other archetypes and other mechanics for the game. Another thing that's pretty upsetting about them being released as commons is in Triple D Super Doom King Purple Armageddon. While the Super Doom King cards weren't necessarily great, we got Bright Armageddon and Dark Armageddon released to us a couple of promo sets ago. But if you're a collector and wanting to just have all 3 of these cards for a collector's sake, it's really going to look a little off-putting if you've got 2 of them as ultra rare cards, and then one that looks just like a throwaway common. It really just seems to me that Konami is trying to put the last nail in the coffin on pendulum players, the mechanic, and in particular this archetype. Number 4 on this list would be the Galaxy cards, and I put this one on the list not only because of the recent support it's already received in the Legendary Duelist White Dragon's Abyss set, but it's also receiving a good bit more in this set. I believe we've got not only a spell and a trap rather, we've got 2 main deck monsters, a level 4 and a level 8, both will help enormously with the consistency of the deck, but this archetype is also receiving a Link monster. Now, the Link monster is not by any means something that's going to totally fix the deck or throw it in as a tier 1 or meta contender, but Galaxy Eyes Soulflare Dragon is a Link 2 with, I believe, 2,000 attack points, which that's not anything to scoff at, but its effect basically makes it a Link 1 in the sense that it has the graveyard recovery, and then with it having the 2,000 attack points, it's basically boosting to what the archetype already does when you can have your Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon plays, and then from there the possibilities are endless and you're off to the races. So number 4, Galaxy. Now number 3 on the list, despite only having the 1 card support in this set, would have to be Fluffles, in that the fact that these players finally received Fright for Patchwork. This is a card that Fluffle players have been wanting into the game since the Arc 5 era of Yu-Gi-Oh! And if they had received this card earlier on, that deck could have been much more meta impactful than it had been. Unfortunately, we got it a little late into the game, probably so much to the point where the deck will have been power crept regardless, but it is nice that these players get to play the deck at full power. Better late than never, right? Now, number 2 on my list, I would have to give to Danger. Danger has already made quite an impact in the game since its release of the first few cards in the series in the last set. But now, with the support it's receiving in Soul Fusion, it's going to go from a splashable engine to its own full-fledged deck that you play splashable engines in. It's going to go from Dark World Dangers to Danger Dark Worlds, or whatever else kind of engine you want to splash, into this deck because the versatility is just there. Now, while it may be on the pricier side, this deck, with all of the support that it's receiving in Soul Fusion, is definitely going to be one that you're going to want to watch out for if you're going to go compete in any locals, regionals, YCSs, or anything of that nature. This deck is going to make an impact, mark my words. Now, for an honorable mention, I just wanted to talk about Gravekeepers for just a second. Yes, this deck's received a good bit of support throughout the past few years. It's not like it's done anything in the metagame, or even really been considered too viable of a rogue strategy. It's not like you're gonna see many of them doing any well in any sort of YCSs or anything, but it did receive a good bit of support in this set. It's up to speculation as to see if it's going to do too much with these new cards. We'll just have to wait and see. That's why it's an honorable mention on this list, is because I honestly can't predict what the deck is going to do in this format. And that leaves us with number 1 on this list, and if you haven't figured it out already, this one will of course have to go to Thunder Dragons. Now, how could I not put this as number 1 on the list when, as an archetype standpoint, this went from having literally one main deck monster and a terrible vanilla extra deck fusion monster to something that in the OCG is already a pretty good contender for top 5, and something that in the TCG people are speculating will be able to be a formidable match to possibly even take down the Sky Strikers themselves. And the fact that Konami is printing these cards in the high rarities that they are only further shows how much the company is trying to push this archetype to be something that it wants the really competitive players to be playing, and I really think that this deck does have a shot to maybe knock Sky Strikers down a peg. I definitely think it's going to be more than a match for things like Trickstar, maybe even Goki, but of course these are just my speculations. We won't really know how the format shapes up again until this set is released. The sneak peek event does begin this next coming weekend. I do believe I will be trying to attend one. Hopefully that works out for me. But let me know in the comments below if you all are going to be attending the sneak peek event, or if you agree or disagree with this top 5 list. Let me know what you think. What is the archetype that's getting some support in this set that you are most excited for? As always, my friends, stay thick.
Extra thick!